Hey everybody, it's time for more Alienated. We are now up to, chapter 31 already. Before we dig in, before we start, a quick shout out. This is going pretty far, all the way from me in London over to West Hollywood, California, to Jade in West Hollywood. Jade, I hope you're doing really well. I hear you're a big reader, so I hope you're reading along with me and enjoying the story and staying in, staying safe, and looking after your parents. All right, let's crack on. Places, please. Chapter 31. Word had spread that afternoon about Juliet and me being prom dates, resulting in a strange combination of awestruck looks and jealous high fives when I walked the halls between classes. Of course, most of the student body had appendages with anything but 4 fingers and a thumb, so high five was more like high claw or high paw. That night, the auditorium was sweaty and packed, and not just with students. When Juliet and I held hands and took our bows, the whole place, even the rest of the cast behind us, went wild. I spied Mr. Meltzer, Mr. Svitz, Mr. Ortson, and even Lunch Lady Nancy, all clapping away. Mrs. Rackles didn't have hands, but I'm pretty sure that ear was cheering in her own way. Even Dad was there, politely applauding in his civvies. Jessica had been great as Lady Capulet. Maybe that's because Lady Capulet is distant, moody, and annoying. And I had nailed every scene I was in. But I wondered if Dad was actually proud or just clapping to feign parental supportiveness. And when Juliet, to whoops and cheers from the crowd, surprised me with a kiss on the cheek, I wondered if she was enjoying Earth life enough to definitely not disappear between then and prom. I couldn't stop grinning. The applause and cheering kind of made up for Aldrin getting all the credit for the race trials. And when we got a standing ovation, I have to confess, it boosted my ego to a new level. I may have been an anonymous racer boy, but that night on stage, I became a school celebrity. My cheek still tingled with Juliet's first kiss. I felt that evening everything finally was going to be okay. I would win the rocket races, prove my awesomeness to Juliet, and sweep her off her feet at prom. And when the Ned invasion came, her physical presence on Earth would be the ultimate deterrent. Surely the Neds wouldn't mess with an icon. Even Jessica gave me the slightest of approving head nods from the wings and mouthed, "Bravo." For one moment, life couldn't get any better, until it got unimaginably worse. "Get off that stage, young lady," shouted my mom's voice above the applause. The mentor stormed down the aisle and jumped onto the stage with fists clenched and eyes glaring. "A boy?" she yelled. "Do you mind, madam?" Ms. Tegg squealed, fluttering in front of the rampaging mentor. Groom Lake High has a zero-tolerance policy towards pushy stage moms. "I am nobody's mother. I am the—" "Mentor!" Juliet yelled. "What are you doing?" The applause faded, and a nervous, shocked alien babble rose up to replace it. "Madam, if you please," Miss Tegg hissed again. But the mentor ignored her, stomped straight up to Juliet, yanked her away from me by the wrist, and started wagging her finger, right there, center stage. "A boy?" she yelled again. "You took physical form on this primitive planet for a boy?" "Mentor, please," Juliet said. "People are watching." "A mortal boy with no powers and no standing in the universe? In tights?" I don't usually dress this way," I said in my defense. But she just kept on ranting, and then suddenly turned to jab her finger at me. "You stay away from this icon," she said. "She is spoken for." "I'm still in training," Juliet snapped, suddenly crying. "And I am not spoken for." "You will be, young lady. Your parents have ordered a pairing." "What?" cried Juliet, yanking back her wrist, hitching her costume away from her feet and storming off stage. "No!" "Where do you think you're going?" called the mentor, before turning back to me. "This is all your fault." As if on cue, a spotlight swung onto me, half blinding me. As I squinted through the light, I spotted Mr. Meltzer shaking his head and rolling his eyes. And then I saw Dad. He was frozen, mouth open, his eyes wide behind his glasses. "Carol?" he yelled, loud enough to silence the entire crowd. It took a few moments for the mentor to realize someone was talking to her. She shielded her eyes and gazed out from the stage. "Carol?" Dad called again, quivering. "Is that really you?" A lump came straight to my throat. I checked the wings for Jessica and saw her sprawled on the floor, with Kudo crouched over her, fanning his limbs to cool her down. I could only watch as Dad pushed through the crowd and scrambled up on stage, and he stood there, frozen. "You're alive?" he whispered. "Dad, listen," I said. "She's not..." The mentor narrowed her eyes. "I see," she said. "You must be..." "This is my dad," I said to her. "Of course," the mentor said. And she gave Dad a kind of weak, "oh, you poor thing" kind of smile. Dad grabbed her arms. "You're alive?" he whispered again. The mentor wriggled gently out of his grip and started edging away, backwards and off stage. "Sherman," she said, "would you mind filling in your father on the details? I genuinely don't have time. I have a rebellious goddess in training to reprimand and a pairing to prepare for. You understand, I'm sure. Teenagers." And then, unbelievably, she was gone. "It's not her, Dad," I said. "It's not Mom." Dad gazed at me, gazed off stage, gazed at Jessica, who was now sitting up and sipping from a glass of water. He sighed a huge, desperately sad sigh. "Then once again, son," he said, "it seems you have some serious explaining to do." As the audience's attention moved away from us and they began filing out of the auditorium, I finally came clean about the rocket and Mom's ashes. Then I tried to explain the physics of the mentor's intergalactic cloning, but Dad interrupted me. "You launched her ashes in that rocket?" "I just wanted her to get her wings," I confessed. "She always wanted that, ever since she was young, and I figured this was her best chance to ever fly that high. It was something that I could do for her. Only me. I know you don't understand, but this was just something that I had to do for her." "You launched her ashes in that rocket?" he said, stuck on repeat. "Yes, Dad, without inviting me?" And then he did the most undad-like thing he'd ever done. He hugged me. Okay, it's chapter 31. Come back tomorrow for more Alienated. Stay in, stay safe, take care of yourself, take care of one another, and I'll see you tomorrow.